Hi Pisces Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2024 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So Leo season is synonymous with August, at least the first few weeks of the month. And Leo for you is in the 6th house, which is the house of your opposite sign, Virgo, in astrology. So it's an earth house. It opposes your 12th house that you rule in astrology, which is more of like the otherworldly and past lives and the dream state, things that are not of this world. But the 6th house is the house of your daily routine. So how you order your days. It's the work that you do, the work conditions. It can, the status of your work, it's your co-workers, it's the workplace itself. And it's also your health, physical health. So because Leo is your 6th house, you're going to have these matters come to the forefront. Now, this is not unusual at this time of year, but just to say, we have these cycles in life, and this happens to be one of them. Mars is going to be in Gemini all month long. If you're listening in July, Mars enters Gemini on the 20th of the month. Gemini is a fellow mutable sign, Pisces, and this falls in your 4th house of home and family. And it hasn't been in this sector since March of 2023. So because it's a personal planet, you would expect it to be there once a year. Now it was delayed a little bit because of the retrograde. So a year and a half. And it's also slowing down right now because it's going to retrograde in Leo in this same sector in December. So this is going to play out, and it's going to linger in the 6th house for a long time. But right now, it's in an earlier house, the 4th house of home and family. Mars is the god of war. So what can you say about this domestic area, Mars roaring through it? What does that mean? Well, one thing, Mars can be the mother. It can be you could have conflict with the mother, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't mean that's going to be true for everyone. For some people, this can manifest as being, very active with your mother. Some people say the 4th house is the father, and you could apply it to the father if that resonates with you. But something completely different, since this can be your property. You could be renovating your property. You could be doing construction work on your property. On the 4th of the month, Venus goes into Virgo, into that 7th house of committed partnership. And on the same day, there's a new moon at 12 degrees of Leo. So we have the 6th and 7th houses engaged. The new moon in the 6th house could be as simple as somebody gets a new job, or maybe you realize that you want to go into a different line of work. I really think that that could be a theme, because there is going to be a Mercury retrograde, and it will go back into the 6th house, Mercury. So it starts in the 7th and goes back to the 6th house. So there might be something that has to do with work matters that you're rethinking. And then, like I said, there's going to be a Mars retrograde in this work sector at the end of the year. So if you're currently working a type of job that you are just not into, I suspect that in 2025, that might be a thing of the past at some point, because you might even go and try something that you've done before. Venus in the 7th house can be some sort of money that comes from a legal affair. So, I mean, that could run the gamut. You might have recently gotten divorced and you're getting some money from the divorce, or an inheritance, and they had the maybe there was even some kind of review of that. As a matter of fact, speaking of review, the very next day, Mercury goes retrograde at 4 degrees of Virgo. So in that seventh house, something immediately, after Venus enters, Mercury goes awry. But, an example is if you're planning a wedding, and I know there's I was going to say, like, you have to sign a contract that you promise to stay with this person. And contracts can fall under Mercury. So when Mercury goes retrograde in the seventh house, if you're applying for a marriage license, for instance, you better check it twice, because there might be something that delays the thing from happening. Or if you're calling up a caterer or anything like that, obviously, you might have already put these plans in motion. You're not going to go, hey, wait, I'm going to wait until the Mercury retrograde is over. You might have to do things during that time. And then, let the chips fall where they may. But you definitely want to be on high alert. High alert. Of course, it makes sense to always be very careful when dealing with things that require a lot of details. That's not the strong suit of Pisces. That is the strong suit of your opposite sign of Virgo, to kind of, look at the details. But some signs are, Virgo specializes in details. If you have any other type of partner, like a business partner or whatever, there could be some kind of misunderstanding. But all of these things are, relatively minor, because Mercury has such a slow, quick transit. Unlike a planet like Pluto, which lingers for years in one house, in one sign, and, has much greater repercussions than, Mercury would. So then on the 14th, Mercury goes back into that sixth house, and there's something there that you are rethinking. I always like to connect the dots. I don't look at these as isolated situations. So I say, what would the sixth and seventh house have in common? One thing can be, if you work for yourself and you have clients, that could be seventh house, one-on-one relationships or interactions. And if you have, like, let's say you have a falling out, or, due to a misunderstanding with a client, maybe there are some words that are said that really strike you as hurtful. I'll give you an example. Let's say that the client says, how come you're never on time? Or how come, you don't have morning appointments? Don't you get up, in the morning, or are you just like in bed until noon? And, Pisces is a water sign, and sometimes water signs, depending on, what's going on in their life, they might be extra sensitive. Maybe you took offense to it, and certainly it's not a very nice thing to say, especially if they don't say it very nicely. So you kind of maybe distance yourself from that client. Maybe you vow that you're never going to deal with them again, even if you don't say anything to them. And then you start to think about it, and you start to think, maybe I should have morning hours, because this is the sixth house is part of the way that you order your day. Maybe that would be more convenient for certain people, or maybe I should have weekend hours, so I can see clients during the weekend who can't see me during the week. So, something could happen that feels like it is inharmonious, but it ends up being for the best because it causes you to rethink something that might actually improve your life. On the 19th, we have a full moon at 27 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign right before you. So that's your 12th house, Pisces, and that is the house that you rule, like I said earlier. So suffice it to say, this is a very dramatic full moon for you, albeit in a very kind of hidden way because the 12th house is the hermit house. But this is a very psychic full moon for you. This is a great time to get rid of bad habits. The 12th house can be self-undoing or things that people trip themselves up on because they're being self-destructive in some way. So you can take advantage of this by being mindful of looking, and Pisces is an escapist sign because you rule this house, escapism. So this is the house of addiction. But addiction doesn't stop at substance abuse. Addiction can be excessive TV or internet use or, watching. It can be porn. It can be, sex, and maybe the two combined. It can be addiction to a person or to people. Pisces is, I always say, because it's not, no sign is a monolith, but there are certain archetypes. There's a mold for each sign, and for Pisces, it's considered a dependent sign. That doesn't mean it's pathetic. It just means that Pisces people tend to want other people in their life, whereas you might get signs that are more aloof, like, I was going to say Aquarius, but Aquarius is a people person themselves. But there are just certain signs that are more solitary. Even for water signs, I would say that about Scorpios, that Scorpio people are very, I think they're very independent. And anyway, this can give you the illumination and also more incentive to let go of a situation that is no longer serving you, as they say. Watch your dreams. You can have very psychic dreams. This is the house of the dream state. On the 22nd, we have the sun in going into Virgo in that 7th house. So that can be good for partnerships, harmonious situations. You may be feeling more balanced and really seeing things more from an even keel. On the 28th, Mercury goes direct at 21 degrees of Leo. So there you go. You have Mercury. You've been rethinking something connected to your work, connected to day-to-day situations. And now maybe you are prepared to move forward with whatever it is that you've decided to do. On the 29th, Venus goes into Libra. So in this particular case, we're looking at the 8th house, which is the house of other people's money, and Venus is money. So there could very well be something that is connected to an inheritance, a divorce settlement. Maybe this is child support that you're receiving. Again, the 7th house can be legal affairs. So something that transpired then is now providing you money at this time. And also the 8th house is the house of the this is Scorpio's domain, so it can be like deep diving emotionally. So when Venus is here, love becomes deeper. This is the house of intimacy. Now, what do you think about when you think of the word intimacy? A lot of people think of sex, but um, actually, that isn't really true intimacy at the end of the day. It is and it isn't. I mean, it is on one side of things, and people sometimes take it so lightly, but on the other end of things, it still doesn't prove that the two people have really done anything other than bared their bodies, not necessarily bared their souls, which to me is the ultimate meaning relationship wise of the eighth house. So you might be getting into that state, and this could be soulmate territory. If you're with someone that you really feel aligned with. So there you have it, Pisces. It sounds like a very good month for you. I hope that this resonated and that you're looking forward to August. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings. It's an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of transits for the upcoming 12 months. Whenever you order, I just bring it out for the next 12 months for a special price. That's called my deep dive reading. And if you like the tarot as well, the 3 readings together, full-length tarot reading included, is called the whole enchilada. That's a package deal. And then I have those readings separately. Plus, I also have love readings, career readings. You can find out more information at the link below. Thanks for listening. Bye.